Welcome to Third Eye Roll, where ancient wisdom gets decoded, demystified, and occasionally roasted. I'm Dr. Justine Lemos with Scarlett, Trillia, here to serve up Vedic insights, spiritual real talk, and a healthy dose of side-eye. Each episode, we're diving into Vedic astrology, Ayurveda, Tantra, and the weird beauty of being human, with segments like cosmic, current events, story time with the Vedas and Shastras, WTF is that? And a mystic mic drop to leave you lit. No gurus, no fluff, just the good stuff. Welcome back to Third Eye Roll. I'm Dr. Justine Lemos, and I'm here with Scarlett, Trillia, and we're going to enlighten you on all things Vedic, astrological, tantric, yogic, and Ayurvedic. How are you doing today, Scarlett?
Good. We're recording this on a Friday. I'm so glad it's Friday.
I just finished my college semester yesterday, so that felt good.
Hey, congratulations, teacher.
Right. I
professor.
sent you that amazing rap music video that one of my students created about the behavior of bonobos and chimps and their relationship to human evolution.
I enjoyed every moment of it. I also watched some excellent stand-up comedy. We were talking about that in our last episode. An excellent session on 100 men versus one gorilla.
Oh, yeah, that's a thing. My students talk about that a lot. They are very interested in discussing this.
Yeah, I'll send you the link to the comedian that was discussing it.
That's good.
Yeah. Not quite relevant to this podcast, but it might be. Let's see if we can circle this one back.
I like that idea. Today we're going to talk about Rahu moving into Aquarius. It's kind of a companion to our last podcast, which was about Ketu moving into Leo. And so if you haven't listened to that one, go back and listen to that one and then come here and listen to this one, or you can do them in reverse order. It doesn't matter. And I wanted to pause for one moment and just talk about our subject positions in 30 seconds as white Westerners talking about Vedic astrology. I just wanted to pause there and acknowledge where we come from and our subject position and what the heck we're doing. I think in part, one reason why I feel passionate about offering this information in this way is it really bothers me when Western yogis are practicing astrology and they're practicing Western astrology mixed with yoga. That just seems ironic and odd on many levels. Why not engage with this system that has its origins in the same cultures and places as yoga and yogic tradition?
Why not? We've already admitted in past episodes that we have a tendency to tangent, so I will be careful. Let me say this. I could have an entire podcast series on gentle critiquing of the Western yoga culture as it has evolved. That's not the purpose of this podcast. But it is something that over the last decade, the two of us have spoken about in great detail and quite frankly reflected on, at least me personally, on an ongoing basis.
Also, yes.
Always. And I think I just want to say I welcome feedback, questions, and critique on this aspect of what we're doing. We devised this podcast to be lighthearted entertainment and a way of kind of bridging ancient information that has been passed on to us into a context that is both fun and relatable to the audience that we have the most access to.
That's right.
That being said, some of what we are doing admittedly would be considered very odd by my teachers who are from India or in India. And what we are also doing is considered by some of those teachers to be very mundane, which I kind of like because mundane, it's safe. We're not telling you what's going to happen to you we're not predicting the future of another person. That's not mundane. That's spiritual science.
Yes.
This is
and heavy
banter.
karma.
And heavy karma. This is lighthearted banter, and it's a way of us taking between us 30, 40 years of learning and practice.
Well,
more
I've been in this.
you alone.
I've been in these traditions for 30 years
on your
deeply,
own. So we're talking about
in and out of India.
Yeah,
that's right.
Half a century of study, and we've whittled it down to talking about visors and capes and,
study and like dedication of life, right? Which is very different than, 200 hours of this or that.
Yeah. Anyway, I think what we're doing right now is inviting criticism when appropriate, acknowledging our identities, at least our external identities. I have a little bit of conflict between my external identity and my spiritual identity sometimes. I think that's common. And really just making sure that this is framed appropriately. And this is a great lead into talking about Rahu as a karaka of illusion, and a karaka of things that are not as they seem. And let's just get into the subject of this. Let's get into our topic and see if we can weave this through. This is a good through line. I don't know if I can connect it also to the men and gorillas, but let's see if we can put this all together. Sure. Put it all together. Well, we might put it all together. And actually, I think, I have a direction I've been thinking about this week that I could take us in, that is complex, but also relevant.
Well, I sent you a video this morning. I don't think you've seen it, but it's very Rahu, who is the head with no body, moving into Aquarius, which is the delivering of truth and information, the pouring of information into the earth. And it was a video of Paul McCartney being interviewed by a newspaper man. And the newspaper man says, "How many times have you done LSD?" Of course, Rahu often does drugs or that archetype. And Paul McCartney says 4 times. And the newscaster says, "Well, shouldn't you keep that information private?" And Paul McCartney says, "You asked me, therefore I tell you the truth."
There you go. You asked me, therefore I tell you the truth. And I would say that if anybody asked me anything, I would probably tell the truth at this stage about the journey that this practice has taken us on. It's a messy one. It's also absolutely fundamentally life altering in a good way. And we regularly attribute that to ancient wisdom keepers and sages from a culture that we weren't physically born into in this lifetime.
Yes.
And piecing this together.
Rahu moving into Aquarius, Rahu is the head without the body. It's electric and erratic and very spiritually starved, in Aquarius. Rahu wants to frantically eat all of the data, all of the codes, all of the consciousness, but doesn't want to digest anything. And I see Rahu moving into Aquarius, now you can, this blows my mind. I mean, it still blows my mind that you can do a yoga teacher training. I mean, that's just mind blowing because this is like a 5,000-year-old tradition that traditionally yogis dedicate their entire life, or at least 12 years with a teacher before they even learn anything, but that you can do this in a condensed format. But now you can do your shaman training. And then of a sudden it's a big thing. And it's just come kind of into my consciousness now that you go do your shaman training and then you are somehow ratified to offer ayahuasca circles and ceremonies to people. You don't have to go sit up on the mountain anymore and fast and not drink water and have a genuine experience of spirit download. No, you just go do your shaman training in Hawaii, and then now you can call yourself a shaman.
Let me throw some keywords out that popped up as you were saying that. Let's see. Late stage capitalism came to mind.
Yes.
Relevant to this topic. That just thematic. Aquarius, where Rahu is now transiting, is the natural 11th house of the chart. That's the house of gains. Yes. And Rahu is insatiable, right? Yes. Rahu will take and take and consume and consume. And when it comes to money earned, there's really no limit to the desire that this planet represents. That being said, Aquarius is the place in the sky that this planet is the most comfortable occupying. That's its home. Mm-hmm. It gets stronger in Taurus, for example, because there's more to eat there.
Yes.
Simply put, but this is Rahu's home. It's where you get, you earn and you keep. And lots of coming to mind. We're working with a theme of grounding some of these ancient concepts into modern popular culture to give people access to some of the archetypes that we're working to understand. And I think for me, my fashion pick, movie pick, music pick are all the same this time. And they're all all the Matrix. It's all the Matrix. It's the 19.
Did I lose you?
Did you lose me? Rahu's like, don't reveal me.
Glitched talking about Rahu in Aquarius.
I said the word. I said the Matrix, and then the Matrix glitched. Uh-oh.
Right? Okay. It was such a big glitch. Yeah. And we've talked about this. I mean, obviously the movie pick for this is Matrix. And the fashion pick is obviously like all black because Rahu loves black.
Well, check this out. So the fashion pick is the costuming from the movie The Matrix. And I was thinking about when we were doing our episode when Rahu was finishing its transit through Pisces, and we were like, well, what's the fashion pick? I was like, well, there's been a lot of pleather that's been rebranded as vegan leather. When Rahu gets to Aquarius, it's like, no, we're not pretending anymore. We're just going to laminate ourselves in plastic. These bodies are not relevant, and it really is. It's and it's both sides of the Matrix. It's the shiny, tight black plastic laminated Trinity, outfit, but it's also behind the scenes this kind of grubby, because Aquarius is Saturn's house, right? So when you exit the Matrix, you're in your dirty loungewear, and that's all you've got, and you're behind a computer, and that's really the energy of it. The energy of this transit, and this is really relevant to what's going on in the world right now, is like a computer programmer who's kind of hasn't showered in a while, and their hair is tousled and their clothes are dirty, and there's discarded mugs and cutlery around them, and they're just working in the Matrix, right? In the computer, they're in the mind, they're in the internet, the interweb, and their physical form is kind of neglected because they are in that other
double reality
world, and that's where we're headed. I mean, I just came from I'm speaking on an AI panel in a couple of weeks in the context of my industry, which is the pet space. And actually, we mentioned this, dogs and cats are also very relevant to the energy of Rahu and Ketu. And in preparation for that panel, I was speaking with the CEO of the hosting company and the event coordinator and the other speakers. And it was just a really big reminder of how quickly technology is evolving around us and how very ungrounding and kind of disembodied it is and is becoming. And I think we can expect to see advancements in what we are calling artificial intelligence. I don't actually like those. I don't think AI technology is actually artificial or intelligent. I think it's real, and I think it really exists. It's not fake, and it's not intelligent. No. It's just good data analysis, and it's applied data analytics, basically. It's good data. Anyway, that's a separate conversation, but that's where we are. That's where we are. And in 18 months from now, by the end of this transit, we will be using software in ways that we could have never imagined. We will see things happening autonomously. We will even see physical, this is already with us, physical technologies such as robots behaving autonomously. This is already here, but these are the 18 months when this transition happens, as you know, as predicted by this film that was made in the late 1990s, which interestingly, Aquarius is ruled over by Saturn. We're talking about Rahu's transit. We're talking about two planets, by the way, both strengthened by the color black. So this black laminate clothing is very relevant. And they're both, we've talked about how they repeat these long cycles, Saturn every 30 years, Rahu every 18 years, returning to that place. And if you really think about it, those are both really important milestones. 30 years ago, it was like, all right, everyone's got a computer now. Like we're pretty much getting on board with that.
Everybody's getting a robot.
Yeah, well, it was like everyone's got a computer. Then 18 years ago, it was like everyone's got a smartphone. Now we don't know how to find our way down the street without this phone and this map that we carry around. And now it's like everybody's got an AI agent that supports their decision making and does a lot of their work for them. And we give ourselves to these technologies. I mean, no one forces you to buy a computer or buy a phone, but we do it, and we give these technologies more of ourselves than we realize. And this is an era where we are really going to need to reflect on that as it happens all around us. And this isn't, none of this, I'm not saying any of this from a state of fear. I actually wanted to launch into the kind of fashion movie music pick. The Matrix soundtrack, I had the CD, and it's perfect. It's like that's.
I've got another music pick.
You've got a music pick? Okay, we could add some. But what I actually wanted to tie back to, we are going to tie this all back together. We kind of opened this conversation quite solemnly, reflecting on the world of wisdom that we have been learning in and from for a long, long time. And we talk about the mind as a matrix. We use the word the matrix, a matrix, all the time. And I believe that film is one of the most amazing representations in popular culture of what we are actually reckoning with in the yogic tradition. Right?
It's a funny thing. Because, you know, when I was studying for my doctoral degree, every single discipline and every single theory of like you could go to the women's studies department, you could go to the trans studies department, you could go to whatever it was studies department, and they would all think that the matrix was about their critique of whatever it was, like their critique of capitalism, their critique of patriarchy, their critique of gender. Like, and in that way it encapsulates this wonderful way of really postmodern critique.
It's one of the most, in my humble opinion, what is that? IHO? In my opinion, IMO. One of the most important films that was made for our generation, but hands down. Absolutely, hands down. And if you haven't watched it in a while, this would be the time to bring it back.
So my music pick, in addition to, I agree, but I've got to give a shout out here because this is Aphex Twin. Energy, right? Yeah. 100%, right? Yeah. Absolutely chaotic, cyber techno, in all of its realms and guises. Yeah.
I used to go to quite a lot of punk rock shows in the Bay Area, East Bay Area, in the late 90s, early 2000s. And I can't believe I'm old enough to say that. But
in the late 1900s.
In the late 1900s, I used to indulge in punk rock culture. And it was already kind of past its peak. But there were some OGs, I guess you could say. And there was this band, I hope this resonates with somebody. There was a band called Babyland. And it was just these two guys, and one of them wore like a motorcycle helmet, if I recall correctly, with like the microphone inside, just like screamed into it. And then the other person, kind of like Aphex Twin, just played on like a 1992 like Macintosh, like when we used to call them Macintosh Apple computers, like the gray ones, and just made like boopity boop like type noises. And the other guy was just like screaming into this like disembodied costume, and his head was huge because of the helmet. Like that's kind of the energy.
Right? It absolutely is. And you know what's interesting? I remember at one point meeting somebody and I was like, oh, what do you do? They were like, I'm a musician. I was like, oh, what do you play? They said, oh, I play computer. And I was like, huh. And then, so what I'm seeing now, like in my Instagram feed, I'm seeing AI generated music as a genre that people are producing, and you can even listen to, and some of it's really good. But so it's like, what instrument do you play now in this transit and going forward? Oh, I play AI.
Yeah.
I just type in an idea and then I reiterate it, and then it pops out something amazing.
Yeah. I spoke about this like I was saying, I was preparing for this AI panel. I can't believe that I'm like the AI specialist on a panel. Oh my God. That's not accurate. But for my industry, I'm on the far end of the tech spectrum because it's a low tech space that I work in. And whatever, I'm pretty smart. But
you're pretty
hip. But what is the point of saying that? So we were talking on the panel. I've lost my train of thought. About prompt engineering. And this is a term that won't be familiar to everyone, but this is something that we never really had as a concept until recently. And this is like, you can become an engineer whose job it is to accurately prompt AI technologies to create the correct outputs. That's a job now. People are saying I'm a professional prompt engineer. And I mean, we're in a whole new paradigm. What also popped in my head as I was saying that, and I think I mentioned this on this podcast a few episodes ago, is the rate at which AI generated output, visual output and content will become indistinguishable from reality is a pretty fast rate. We've seen that advance quickly. With this
music that I've seen coming through, it's nearly indistinguishable from what could be actual stars from the 70s producing music, or like, you know what I mean, or whatever it is.
Yeah, and that's coming on strong.
Shall we listen to our myth for today? Yes,
it's
a short one.
Tell the short myth.
So, once upon a time, long, long ago, far, far away.
In a galaxy far, far away.
Simultaneously inside each of us, and right here and right now, there's this sage named Dadhichi, and he was this master of yoga and tapas and metaphysical truth. And his knowledge was so potent that the gods feared that he might give it away to the wrong people. So the disruptors, the Aquarian archetypes, the one who are going to just spread the knowledge everywhere. And so the Ashwini Kumar, who were featured in our last myth, the twin horse-headed physicians to the gods, these minor deities of medicine and transformation, they were not allowed to study the Vedas because they are outsiders. They've got horse heads. They're innovators. They're too fast and too new and too unorthodox. But they wanted this wisdom that Dadhichi held. And so Dadhichi says to them, okay, I'll teach you, but only if I'm not technically breaking the rules. So it's like a big workaround. So what does he do? He cuts off his own head, yet another decapitation, and the twins give him a horse head, but only temporarily. And you can see images of this, like there's really beautiful art of this. And so he chants all the mantras, the forbidden, very potent mantras, through the horse's mouth instead of his own mouth.
From the horse's
So
mouth.
yeah, through the horse's mouth. So he unlocks this loophole, and then afterwards, the Ashwini, they're gods of medicine, so they reattach his original head after the transmission is done. So they get all the knowledge, and he doesn't break the covenant to the gods of not sharing this great wisdom with the outsiders. So this is, outsiders seeking knowledge through non-traditional means. This is, hacking into the matrix, really. And it's also rebellion against elite gatekeeping, which we're going to see even more and more through this transit. Like, you don't have to get a PhD anymore. You can work around, right? Breaking rules for innovation and for uplift is very Aquarian. And then this is, the teacher who cuts off their own head and sacrifices their own ego to give the wisdom to the next generation. So that's our myth for today.
I love it.
Yeah. Being ahead of your time and changing the system, and then that glitching of the matrix, which is so prevalent in this transit.
Interesting. Some of us have been feeling like we are characters in the matrix since a long, long time ago, and we've often been framed or kind of pigeonholed in a way as like woo-woo outsiders.
That's right.
But we're actually maybe more like freedom fighters. Just a thought. I don't know. Yeah. The thing is, yeah, I've been separate from this podcast, I've been thinking a lot about that, like, kind of red pill, blue pill idea of like,
sure,
coming to a crossroads. And I think that's there's a lot of ways we could apply that as a metaphor to what we're talking about. And we also, I'm trying to think the perfect application of this. Something that we've talked about a lot in our yoga tradition is we'll say things like yoga will ruin your life, right? Mm-hmm. It'll ruin your life, because once you start, it's like Alice in the rabbit hole, or like once you take that psychedelic drug, you can't turn it off. You have to ride out the trip. Once you fall down the rabbit hole.
And not just ride out the trip, the rest of your life is inextricably changed from that trip forever. And same thing, if you are practicing real yoga, or maybe any yoga, you are inextricably changed.
Yeah, forever. It's not something, we're not saying this out of fear, but it's like once you awaken to aspects of yourself or aspects of the reality that you are a part of, or once you bend the matrix, or once you exit it, once you take your red pill or your blue pill, there is no going back. And a lot of people will, I don't know what a lot of people will do, actually. I think historically there's been a lot of avoidance, and I think we've reached some sort of critical mass in society of people being ready to awaken to a new understanding of reality, and then realizing like, wow, it's not any less scary. I just have more awareness now. And there's the character in the Matrix, the kind of like the agents are like the enemy, but there's a bad guy, right, who wants to go back. He doesn't want to be awakened anymore, and it leads him to turn on his own people, on his own team, and seek violence as a means of restoring the comfort of not knowing. That's a wild concept. Wow, this could be a whole series. Also, it's 4:44 p.m., 4:44 here in London.
Rahu's number. It's
Rahu's
8:44 here, and 4 is Rahu's number. So I think we've done our work talking about Rahu in Aquarius for today. Now that we have hit the magic Rahu number, and we'll be back next week on Third Eye Roll. I don't know what we're talking about next week, so I can't tease it at all.
We can't foreshadow it yet.
We will be talking about something.
We will be talking about something. We will be, maybe we will, and just to our dear listeners, do send in questions and comments. It's inspiring.
Yes.
Maybe we will continue to take a little step away from our primary focus has been Vedic astrology and think a little bit more about the total tradition or kind of world of traditions that we're operating in.
And
Maybe
we may want to talk about Ayurveda, next week.
we may. And here, let's foreshadow that. So we were given three wisdom tracks that work together, and you can explain this, Justine, more eloquently than I can. Ayurveda was given for the physical health. Yoga is actually for the mind. Yoga is a practice for the mind. And Jyotish, this Vedic astrology that we've been playing with in these series, is for the spirit. If you would like to simplify it down into English Western terms or concepts. But I mostly say that as a reminder that when we say the word yoga, we are not talking about your yoga pants and your downward facing dog. You can do we do that. But that when I think to myself, yoga, I'm not thinking about downward facing dog. I'm thinking about God realization.
That's right.
And other things. But there is a huge spectrum of experience and wisdom and philosophy and learnings and practices and awakenings embedded into a single word.
Yes.
That we are using in a lot of context on this podcast. That being said, I'm getting a very matrixy phone call, and I wonder if that's my sign to log off.
Om Namah Shivaya. I'll see you next week. Om Namah Shivaya. Bye.
Bye.